everyone. This is Karen for Online Healing Community. Welcome to Creating Space. And today we're going to talk about leading during crisis. And this is my first time to broadcast from my place here in Oriental Mindoro. So hello, everybody. And today we have a special guest. We have Coach Gina Katigbak. She's a life leadership and success coach, and she has over 18 years of experience in facilitating and coaching individuals, team managers, and business owners through personal and leadership mastery programs. She has also changed consultant and, like I told you, a life leadership and success coach. She's an ICF and ASC Associate Certified Coach, an emotional intelligence coach, an NLP practitioner, and a certified meditation teacher, and a whole lot more. Currently, she is an assistant vice president for Shopping Center Management Corporation, a business owner, and a consultant. She has developed programs that develop both the trainee and the trainer, and her personal mission to bring abundance and breakthroughs to the world. Friends, please help me welcome Coach Gina Katigbak. Hi, Coach.
Hi,
Welcome
Karen.
to Creating Space.
Thank you for inviting. Pleasure to be here. Excited to have conversation with you tonight.
I'm so excited also and also joining us our live audience. So we're so excited to really converse with you on leading during crisis. First off, Coach Gina, how did you get into coaching?
A long time ago, 2003, 2003, so a lifetime ago. I went into the program because I needed coaching. I went into a coaching program. Somebody invited me for a leadership program, actually. It was called a leadership program at the time, and discovered that it was a lot about personal development and about, self-awareness. And that led into a coaching program that I needed at the time, because I was in a space where there were opportunities that I was hesitating to take. And that program really helped me to let go of my hesitation and let go of what I felt was limiting me, and just step into, being courageous and saying yes to opportunities. And that just sparked it, So long time ago.
Thank you for sharing that. And you talk about beliefs a lot of times in your Facebook and in your social media pages. And you said that usually it's really whatever you believe that happens, it pushes you towards action or inaction.
That's right. It's really what you believe to be true that moves you towards that space. And so if you're not finding where you want to go, or the result that you're getting, it's because there's some belief that's in the way that's sort of, making that happen for you. So that's where you need to kind of check in to see what is guiding you and what needs to change, so that you can get to where you want to go and take action towards that. Yeah. Belief is a powerful thing. You can believe you're right, or you can believe you're wrong.
And either way, you're correct.
In either way, you're correct. That's true. Yeah. So I choose to believe greatness a lot. So possibility, and a strong advocate of that, stepping into your greatness, because you are more than what you believe to be at this point in time. So, and a lot of it, our beliefs are really cultivated by, what we see and what we've modeled, and what, how we grew up and all of that. And so, how our parents were, or our friends, things like that. And so it might not hold for what we want or what we want to achieve. And I think that's where a lot of people start taking a check in to see where they're at on their beliefs, and see where they, what do they want to shift, or they want to change in what they want to believe in. Yeah.
I completely agree with you, because if you change your belief, I feel that your life changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you've been mentoring a lot of students, and you're a consultant also for a lot of organizations. What space are they operating from now, especially now during the pandemic? And what is it that you're teaching them?
well, again, it's all about what's possible. Holding space, and I'm teaching coaching, a lot of coaching around meaningful, creating meaningful conversations, the space of possibilities, the space of gratitude. And I guess at this point, now that it's remote, like now we're online. Before, my coaching was all one-on-one, personal, like face-to-face. But now it's all online. And so I can reach more people, and that's the beautiful thing. And now that we're all online, we can actually reach out to more people, and borders are broken now. You can go around the world. Family members that I didn't communicate with before for years and years, now all of a sudden, like every weekend, we're we're seeing each other online and stuff like that. So it's really amazing how the way the world has changed so much, and how accessible everyone can be and is. And it gives us that opportunity to sort of step in and engage with more and more people, and engage with ourselves as well. So I love that.
I agree with you. It's easier to scale now, and it's easier to reach everybody around the world, given the current setup now. But also because of change, a lot of organizations, a lot of companies are having difficulty. And you're also a leader for a big company. You're a business owner yourself. How do you find leading during this time of change?
Yeah, as a leader, I think one of the biggest things that was called upon was really to be grounded, to find a space where you're just, you're stable and you're grounded, because everybody around you is not. And everybody around you is in the space of uncertainty and anxiety and of doubt. And as a leader, you have to stand, with confidence, and, in face of any adversity or challenge, with a positive outlook that we can get through that, because that's what they're looking to you for. They're looking to you as an anchor of possibility and positivity and optimism. I guess that's one of the things. And what that entails as a leader is for you to have that space of being grounded with yourself, that self-awareness and that confidence, and the vision to actually be able to break through whatever challenges that do arise. And I think, a lot of that is really trusting yourself and trusting the people that are around you and your organization. And that's been tested time and time again. And it's been, the results are really showing that it's really about the people. And in leading an organization, it was really about people first. Business was put on hold, put second, and it was really about take care of the people first and where they're at, and go show up at their level to support them to get through where they needed to be at. That we needed to really be very quick around. So yeah.
So it's really being there for the people at this time.
At this time, yeah, absolutely. From the beginning of the pandemic to where we are right now, it's still about that. It's still about how people management and building people's resilience, and supporting their mental health and their well-being, and finding grounded space for certainty in uncertainty. And actually, it was also about managing how they viewed the situation, sort of reorienting them to a new normal, a new world, and also managing their emotional intelligence, getting them back into understanding what they're feeling, because a lot of them did not understand what's going on and what's happening, and how we fluctuated the instability of our quarantine status, even just the last few weeks, right? We've had all the different status of quarantine possible in NCR. And that alone was just, people were already finding the way around the shift in status. They know this. So their protocols are already in place, and they're assured that we can still continue. Business continuity, is in place. Remote work from home, manning, safety first, all of that is in place. And I think that was really quite important as a leader, to continue communicating with your teams all the time, engaging in conversation with them.
You talk about that a lot of times. Like, if there's one word that I see on your post, more often than others, it's communication, and you emphasize that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a leader, I think that's one of the number one characteristics that a good leader has is their ability to be a good communicator. And a good communicator is one who is good at listening, like really good at listening. Number two is asking, really good questions. More importantly, the ability to build rapport. I mean, it's about rapport. It's that space of trusted relationship, creating that trusting relationship. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to be leading them. You're just going to be directing and dictating. And so for me, communication, building your communication skills is one of the most important things as a leader. And I think that's one of the things that I really learned over my course of stepping up into leadership was my own ability to communicate, not just with other people, but communicate with myself as well. And so am I listening to me? Am I asking the right questions for myself? And do I have a vision, and where am I going to go and all of that? And then how much do I trust and have confidence in myself? I thought that was really important. And, all of those things is like, it's really about your personal and leadership development journey. I guess that's really where it always starts is with you first. And when you ask yourselves these important questions and when you're listening to your own answers, that allows you to also be in the same space to create that space for others to also be as fluid with their conversations with you as well. And as open and honest as you can possibly be with them. Yeah.
So you're saying it's important to take care of the self first and to really.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. It's like that. It's like that when the plane is going to go down, and they always tell you put your oxygen mask on you first, and then on everybody afterwards, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're lost in your own, situation, how are you going to lead the people around you, right? And so if you're not asking your own important questions and you're not also listening to yourself, it's going to be difficult for you to do the same with other people, to ask the questions with them and to listen to them as well. So personal development as a leader is really one important aspect. And it's communicating with self and learning about what's stopping you, what's limiting you. Yeah.
I love that. Communicating with self first. And then if you're able to do that, then it's easier to communicate with others.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Was there a time when you weren't communicating with yourself or where you weren't taking care of yourself and it led to something different or it
Absolutely.
or it really affected your project?
Yeah, for sure. Before I got into personal development, a lot of the time I wasn't really listening to what I was always I was always knowing that I could lead, but I never listened to that voice that says, just step up, you can do it. Just step up. So I would always hesitate. I'd always be pulling back. I would always just not be, sharing my ideas, what I know and what could be easier to do and things like that. And so with that, I lost a lot of opportunities. And it's the same with some projects that I have at times when I'm not listening to let's say my intuition that I know the answer for this and I'm not speaking up. My gut tells me that this is the right thing to do, but I'm listening to other things or I'm not listening to myself. And then we end up taking 2 steps back from the project when we could have just gone 2 steps forward. So a lot of that is, yeah, you're right. It's listening to yourself and not just the intuitive voice, but also, what you know to be true and what you're confident and you're capable of doing. Yeah.
So there were times when you would doubt yourself because looking at you now, you seem very, very confident. And looking at all your credentials, like, oh my gosh, she knows everything about leadership. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, there was a time that you had self-doubts.
All the time. I have self-doubts all the time. I think everybody does. No one is really perfect. And at the end of the day, it's whether it's self-doubt in relationship or in home life or or business, especially now, like I just started my business, right? So I'm pretty good at business development and, talking with coaching people around their businesses. I'm expert at that because I've done that for years and years. But then when it's your own, it's a different story because you're in a different space and a different frame of mind. And so you're sitting there with a different hat on, and it's like, wait, am I doing this right? Is there a better way, or is there another way of doing this? And so what I have to do is I have to go to people who are experts at that. And just like in any, like I would go to a coach, or I would consult with my, with my team and what they're experts at. Let me give you an example. Social media is not my area of expertise at all. And so if you ask me to, what's the ins and outs of social media, I couldn't tell you, and I wouldn't even try. I would just say, wait, let me get you an expert. That I could do. But if someone asked me to navigate myself through it, I would say, no, I can approve a plan, but I can't figure out, next steps beyond that. How to get it up and how, track it and all that. I can approve the plan. I can approve the copy and the graphics and all of that. And I can approve the message that I was asking them to sort of, create visually. But beyond that, it's like the ins and outs. I'm not an expert, so I wouldn't even. I sometimes
created your own team.
I did. Well, it's the team of family. So I brought my son in and my son's girlfriend in. It's amazing. They're both amazing coaches in their own right. And they're amazing, young, entrepreneurial, learning the ropes as we go along. So there's a lot of trust there that's important, and a lot of mistakes were made and a lot of learnings were made along the way of where I am today, like in this brand. Like I launched this brand just this year, February. Just this year. We're almost a year now. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot on what to do and what not to do. And I think that's been the fun aspect of the journey. And so, yeah, there have been a lot of doubts of whether to pull back or to even do another, another service or another concept. So there's a lot of that conversation that still goes on.
But it's very successful. I saw in one of your posts that you have 70 graduates in one of the course already.
Yes, yeah. I have a program called Coaching Greatness, and it's a group coaching twice a month. So I have a community called the Greatness Tribe, and I have about 70 students there. And we've been journeying together since February of this year. So we've had how many months together, and we're going all the way until January. We end January 2022, so one full year. And it's supporting people in their own personal development journey over the years. So we have themes every session, and it's group coaching. So you get coached, you learn, you engage, and you share. And it's been very helpful. And people are doing goals together, masterminds, and so a lot of personal development, because I was really hungry to share and to also be part of a group that, wanted to be in, the same space, like-minded individuals who are out for growth and who want to step into their greatness, challenging this pandemic, in the face of it, to step into their greatness and really build their abundance, even though there's all of this going on in the world and the possibility of that.
I love challenging this pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. I think this pandemic has its silver linings to it. I really do. I've just learned so much from this last year and a half about myself and about organizations and about individuals and about boundaries. a lot of things. Yeah.
And the people that you're coaching Greatness Program, they've been at it for the last 9 months. What's your most, what do you call this? What's a breakthrough moment for you, and an aha moment for you during the run? Because you're together for a long time.
Yes, yeah. It's really about, the ahas really come when I go into one-on-one coaching with them and do sort of like, personal engagement just to get where they're at. And it's really amazing how much people have grown as we provide certain tools, whether they choose to implement them or not. It's adult learning, so it's up to you, right, to put it in place. But people started doing their morning and their evening routines. They started meditations. They started, putting up, creating boundaries when they need where they needed to. They started really stepping in and stepping up to living greatness every day and breaking through every day if they can, and celebrating the wins, celebrating the lows, even, all the learning opportunities that they also had. I think the biggest wins really have been about how they started seeing people differently and engaging with people differently because they felt different in themselves. They saw and they acted differently as well, and they're happier and they feel stronger. I guess one of the things that really comes out in a lot of our conversations is I feel stronger. I feel like I'm, like unstoppable or invincible or, confident. I think that's really important as well to highlight, that people found confidence in themselves. And a lot of self-care and self-compassion came out. People were very hard on themselves for a whole year in 2020. So 2021, they wanted to be kind with themselves. So loving kindness came out, and self-care, self-love, a lot of conversations around that, and what tools they could use, and bring in how to bring in self-care and self-love. And so that was really meaningful for a lot of my students. Yeah.
Also, it's not a set program. You're actually moving with what they need.
Yes, it moves. So we theme every month what our month is going to be about. This month was about motivation and momentum. We just finished motivation and momentum because we're in the fourth quarter, facing the fourth quarter of the year. So people were driving for their fit to the finish line for the year. So a lot of them were really going for their abundance goals and personal goals for health and wealth and whatever that they set up for themselves. And so we wanted to really highlight how to build motivation, how to be self-motivated, how to bring that in and how to bring that to their people as well, and how to build momentum, in the actions that you take. So, and what tools could you bring in to do that? And so we just finished really a really great month of building motivation and momentum. Yeah. So they walk away self-motivated, self-managing.
Right. So after the course, after the whole program, they can
Yeah,
be independent. I love
absolutely.
it. I love that you're journeying together, and it's not like a 1 month thing or a 2 month thing. It's a whole year.
It's 1 year of coaching greatness. And some people have just recently joined us for the last quarter of the year, which is so great. And even that alone, they're getting so much value from that because every program, every segment that we do, you can just apply it. We always challenge them, apply it within 24 hours and see where that goes. And how do you fit it into your life? It's not so much about all the downloads that you get. It's about how does it serve you in your life at this point? And how do you make it, serve you and support you moving forward? And then how do you apply it with others, etc. So 1 year of the journey has been really incredible so far.
And there's a
Now
community,
we have a
right?
community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
they get
called.
to interact.
They do, yeah, and we also put them actually in mini mastermind groups as well, so that they can also support each other with goals and what's going on with them. So they're learning also how to coach. And then I have another program that actually teaches coaching skills. So some of them already actually coaches that have joined my program, and some of them who are interested in coaching conversations and coaching have joined my other program called Leadership Coaching Masterclass, which allows them now to sort of drill down the skill sets of coaching conversation, the skills needed for coaching conversations, and how to have easy coaching conversations with their teams or with each other, or yeah, creating that
So
for
at the
themselves.
end of the course, they can become coaches themselves.
At the end of the leadership coaching masterclass, yeah, most of them are become internal coaches for their organizations or for their teams or their businesses. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's just beautiful. We'll talk more about the leadership masterclass, but we'll have to wrap up the first part of this conversation, and I'll ask you the last question for this first segment. What
Okay.
makes a great leader? Since we're talking about leading during crisis.
Okay. What makes a great leader? Number one for me is really that you have a vision and that you're positive and optimistic about the vision. I think that's really important, and that you have confidence and courage to lead. I think one of the things that a lot of leaders are, or those that I think everybody's a leader, but what sets others apart is the courage to step up into leadership, and face adversity, face challenge, and find the opportunities in the adversities that come. I think that really speaks volumes for those who are able to pivot, especially in this pandemic. I think being positive is key, and being, communication skills, like being a great listener, is also so important. And I guess finding shared purpose or sharing purpose with others as a leader is key as well. So a lot of other elements, of course, in leadership, but I think for me, essentially, I am always positive about everything. Nothing is going to fail, and if it does, that's just learning. That's just feedback. It's not failure. So I always go that way. So I always look at being positive as number one for me, and stepping into courage to lead is the second. Finding
So
vision and purpose.
right.
Yeah,
So it's really this huge belief in the project or the company or the organization.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Coach Gina. So that ends the first segment of the conversation. We'll just take a 1 minute break. And when we come back, you can ask your own questions or give your reaction or comments, and Coach Gina will engage with you and give her own take on your questions or your comments as well. Okay, so we'll see you in after 1 minute. So that we can just help people stay calm and spread calm at this time. And if we can just really lighten the load of everybody, and lalo na with the social distancing that's being done, we kind of feel alone. Even now, we're still on lockdown. And I just want people to know that, guys, you're not alone. Kaya natin to. Together, we can do this. That's why we have programs every Tuesday. Every Thursday, there's a class or a workshop which is free to the community so everybody can come together. Here are our programs on personal growth and healing for you. So we're back. So we're with Coach Gina Katigbak. We're talking about leading during crisis. And before we took a break, we're talking about what makes a great leader. And she said you have to be really, really positive. That's number one. And number two, you have to take courage. You have to be courageous enough to lead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have, before that, we're also talking while we're still waiting for other questions. At this point, we'll be answering your questions. So please feel free to ask your questions. But before, well, while we're still waiting for questions, Coach Gina, you were talking about your leadership masterclass earlier.
Yes.
And it's started, I know it's going to start this October 16.
Yeah, I actually
And
have
it's a,
my
yeah.
yeah. This is batch 3 of Leadership Coaching Masterclass, and it's a 6-week online coaches skills training program that teaches you how to have effective coaching conversations, or the skills for effective coaching conversations with your teams or with clients, or with your colleagues, etc. And it's really meant to support you in deep diving into 6 essential skill sets, which is building rapport and active listening, the powerful questions that you want to be able to ask, how to give good feedback, and we also tackle emotional intelligence. So how to teach people to be self-managing, self-motivated, self-assured, so that you can bring that to your teams as well. And we do this all through growth model conversation. Yeah, coaching conversation. So easy to learn and fun to do because we have a lot of, it's very interactive classes. 6 Saturday mornings we share together. And at the end of the course, a lot of my students will say, "Oh, I missed the class because we've been doing it for 6 Saturdays." So it's like part of their routine already. So it's really interesting.
And then
Very
that's
fun.
2.5 hours also, Coach Gina.
2.5 hours every, yeah, for 6 Saturdays.
Yeah, so they have a lot of time with you. And I love the intention behind Leadership Coaching Masterclass. You in the Facebook, you said that it's rooted in creating a safe space for transformation for each individual that makes that bold decision to take their leadership and communication skills to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like creating that space for, again, like-minded people to get together to learn and to grow and to share real life scenarios so that they can be supported and guided, in navigating what coaching conversations they will have with their teams or with their downlines or whoever they are coaching at this time. And I think that's really important is that we've got this group of, experienced coaches that are also with us and also those that are part of the class, the participants are part of the class, learning together and facing these scenarios, these different scenarios that they're bringing in for the practice and their real life scenarios. So it's really great that they get that guided support as well.
Mhm. Speaking of support, Darlene is saying something. She's saying this is not really a question, but I would like to honor and acknowledge how awesome a coach trainer Coach Gina is. I bet the new program is much more fun. And I hear that word from you. Fun. It's fun.
It is. It's fun because people are engaged and they find a space where they can be themselves freely. And sometimes as leaders we have masks, so we have to stand up in certain leadership roles, right? So it's hard to let the guard down and kind of just be a learner. And so when you're in a space with other leaders, business owners, and also other coaches, it's like you're in a space where, okay, we're all in this thing together and we're all learning at the same level and no one is higher than the other kind of thing. And so we're just like, yeah, so it's there's equality in the space, and that's what we cultivate so that we build trusting, open relationships, and that allows people to just really be themselves and share with vulnerability the challenges that they're facing with their people, because it
I
is
have a
challenging.
friend. Yes. Speaking of challenging, I have a friend who's a principal, but she started off as a teacher and then she eventually started her own school. And
Yeah,
she'll go back to the clinic because she wants to be with peers. And it's like, why are you? And she doesn't have anything. I mean, she doesn't have business to be in the clinic. She just wants to be with other peers because we used to work together in a clinic. And she said,
exactly.
because if you're like a principal in a school, you don't have a peer, and you can't
Yeah,
really confide to your teachers. So I just
yeah,
need a space. And she's like trying to put herself there, and I was like, you're not needed here. No, I just need, and that's what she's saying. I just need a peer. I just need some people that I can talk to and be myself with, because she said that. Yeah.
and get feedback from. That's the thing, is like to be able to throw out, this is the situation, because no one else in your organization is going to be able to, like, is aware of what's going on for you, etc. So when you go into the space of leadership coaching masterclass, and let's say we're working on listening, so maybe it's a listening thing, maybe so we're able to coach each other, we're able to support with coaching the individual, and also they're able to share what challenges they are actually facing, and they walk away with some tactics and strategies on what they can try. And so that's what's so great about the class as well. It's like, because we spread it over 6 Saturdays, you're really going to practice what you learned that Saturday in the next week, and sort of apply. Maybe the skill set for the week is listening. So this week, the homework is all about engaging in listening, active listening, and all of that. And then you come back to class and say, how did that, change in your conversation? When you focused on the listening, how did that change? Or when you focus on rapport building, because a lot of the times it's the challenge is rapport. And so when you focus a lot on the rapport building, how did that change the dynamic of the relationship? And that, that's very insightful for a lot of leaders when they finish the course, is that when you put it all together, it changes the way you start engaging with yourself and with others as well. And you end up like coaching conversation is now part of the norm for you. You normally listen that way now. You normally ask deeper questions, and you're not just being superficial and cosmetic in your conversation.
Right. Darlene is saying, I think one of your happy students, Darlene is saying, and Coach Gina and the team are always learning and adding it to the program. Coach can sound intimidating, especially for me, an introvert, but I truly enjoyed my time with Coach Gina Katigbak. How did I get so lucky? Even an introvert can coach. Haha.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate Darlene so much when she joined our classes. And it's really true. Even an introvert can coach. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about yours. What's the desire really? When you go into coaching conversations, there's so many different things. And for a lot of people, it's because they want to serve. They have a calling to serve people. To ease people's struggle, or to lessen that, and coaching conversation is such an easy and effective way to ease the struggle in business, ease the struggle in relationship, ease the struggle in life. So I think once people start to get into more self-awareness about who they are and what they're capable of doing, and that really is brought out through coaching conversations, that people can start looking really at what do they want and where do they want to go. And it's the same questions that we would ask in performance coaching and productivity coaching: is what do you want and where do you want to go, and why do you want to do that? Why is it important? And so when you get grounded in vision and you get grounded in your why, that's so much easier for any person to step into their own personal leadership, to follow through on creating that for themselves, that goal, manifesting that goal for themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's why you put a big emphasis on vision. What is it that you want?
Yeah, at the end of the day, what's the end? What is this all about? Why are you doing this? What's the most important thing about it? And a lot of the times, like the most common, even work, like why do you work? And the most common is really the freedom, the joy, the peace. I want to live a good life, and all of that. I want to be meaningful, and etc. And so when they get anchored on that, it allows them now to have that capacity to be motivated and build a momentum to create that today in their life. Make that the present experience. And when you're able to coach someone through these clarity conversations, a lot of clarity conversations, even in business, like leadership coaching is really, it's more performance and productivity based, because it's geared more towards business owners, team leaders, or those that are wanting to do coaching for as a practice. And so even in that field, or in that niche, or that focus, the skill sets is still the same as if you were doing life coaching or relationship coaching. The structure of a coaching session is still the same, and the skill sets are the same.
Speaking of coaching, Marielle Andrea is asking, Coach Gina, how would you describe your coaching style? Because in the early days of personal development trainings, the style was more about tough love, breaking the ego, dragon slaying, etc. How has that landscape evolved over the years, and how were you able to develop your own style?
Yeah, I think where my style is right now is really flexible. I think that's one of the most important things that I've discovered, is that I am able to match the style needed that my coachee needs the most. I think you as a coach have the ability to shift to what style is going to support the coachee or the client the most at this time. And if it calls for tough love, then that's what you need to bring in. And if it calls for us, putting a magnifying glass on ego and really, deep diving on that, then sometimes it requires that. But if it's about compassion, or if it's about, clarity conversations or productivity conversations, that's a different, experience altogether. And I think there's still room for a lot of, opportunity and growth in the coaching field. But I wouldn't discount anything to be wrong or passe, because it will really depend on who the audience or who the client is and what their needs are. So I think what's important is that you have all these tools in your toolkit. So dragon slaying is a tool, breaking tough love is a tool, breaking ego is a tool. So is self-compassion, so is meditation, so is, reframing. So there's so many tools available that you could load your coaching toolkit with and be armed and ready, so that when whatever shows up for you in a coaching conversation, you know which tool best to apply to serve the client the best at that moment.
For you, Coach Gina, what's the most important tool?
What's the most important tool for me? I think for me, the most important tool right now is just to be aware of what and how you hold space for someone in a coaching conversation. Yeah. And just allowing the person to flow with what they want to show, what they want and how they want to show up, so that you get the best, I guess the most authentic conversation at the moment that's needed. Yeah. Just being able to hold space for people, to allow them to show up the way they need to. Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, holding space. It's not easy. It's a skill, but it's also a calling. Like, I find coaching for me is a calling, so it's really something that I'm drawn to. And I'm learning now. Like, though I'm an NLP practitioner, I'm moving towards the field now of counseling, so coach counseling. So I'm doing transformative NLP right now. It's another level for myself, so that I can grow and serve more my clients. And so I think it's that the toolkit of just being open and aware is important of what's needed at the time. So no one thing in particular.
So you're always studying.
Always, yeah. I'm in since the pandemic started, because we've had opportunities to work from home, or the hours might have been reduced, or manning, depending on quarantine status, opened up a lot of hours. And because we're from work from home, everything is done at home. Sometimes I have more time, that I said, okay, now is the time for me to take some courses. And so I was able to, since pandemic started, I was able to finish three specific certifications already, that I really am so thrilled with. And looking forward for more. I think that, continuing growth is important. So I'm excited and applying it.
That's true, because it just remains knowledge. It doesn't become wisdom if we don't apply it, right? And right. Aggie has a follow-up question. She agrees with you because she said that each one is coming from a different context. Thank you so much. How much of what you do is based on intuition in terms of responding to what a coach needs?
Probably say about 70% is intuition, or it's about the active listening. The skill of active listening allows you now to hear beyond the words, and really focusing on what you feel, what you see, what you're observing, and interpreting that, I guess, in certain ways, or clarifying that in a lot of ways with your client or your coachee. And that's why it's important to really amp up the volume of your intuitive voice so that you can hear it. And a lot of the times, because of all the content around and our logical brain starts to kick in, it shuts down or reduces the volume of our intuition. So it's great that you have spaces like this, Karen, where meditation and other modalities that can come in to really allow us to expand and tap into our intuitive voices and our other, our other senses. So yeah, I'd probably say 70% is intuition because you just don't know what's actually going to show up. It's like a roulette, every time a coaching conference, so how can I help you today? Is basically the first question that you ask, so what would you like to talk about today? And so you just don't know. You don't have you don't have a playlist. So it's really just listening.
I also see some patients for counseling and for coaching, and I usually plan ahead and have like tools and I prepare. But most of the time, I don't get to use it because it's different. Something else comes up.
Exactly. And I think, if you just step into a space as a coach, if you just step into a space of trust and surrender and know that you already know what you need to know, and it's not about you anyway. So just allow the person to show up and then ask questions, listen, and just be there and be with. I think that's one of the key things that I've really taken away over the course of my, personal development journey, even my coaching journey, has been the phrase "be with." Just be with them. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Be there and be with them. And so, Coach Gina, they can reach you at Coach Gina Katigbak on FB, right? And your website is www.coachginakatigbak.com.
Yes, right, exactly.
And they have other programs coming up. I know that there's a 6-week leadership coaching masterclass. This will start this October 16 this Saturday. But they have other upcoming programs aside from this.
Yes, actually, we're launching more programs in 2022. So we will start doing freedom camps. So we have women's freedom camp. We'll be doing a breakthrough camp as well, and in the works for a team for teens. But more importantly, I still do private coaching. I do executive, business, or life coaching as well. And inviting anyone who would like to have clarity call with me. I'm offering it as well. So they could just go on my FB and book a session. I'm happy to support you in any way. We continue doing inner work, inner circle work, more leadership coaching classes, and we'll see how we do with coaching greatness for the second year. I'm not sure yet, but we're probably shifting to masterminds for next year.
But I love the title, Coaching Greatness. The title alone is very motivating.
Yeah, we've been journeying together in that course for a year, almost a year, so 9 months so far, and it's great. It's great. I love it.
So so you can reach Coach Gina on FB, Coach Gina Katigbak, and on her website, www.coachginakatigbak.com. And I would just like to flash what people are saying on the chat box. Coach Gina is one of the most authentic and compassionate coaches in the country. From Maria B. From I. Yes, I can definitely feel that. I mean that you're doing intuitive coaching. I think this is her response to that. With her energy and Darlene, of course, has joined the conversation earlier, and there are other people joining. I saw Belle earlier. Gian Carla is joining us from Australia, and yeah, I think your team is also here, and Bella is here as well. So yeah, so please keep your comments going. But I guess we have to wrap up the conversation already because it's almost an hour. I'll just take a cue from what you said about checking in with your feelings, because sometimes we don't check in with our feelings. So we'll just do heart focused breathing, and then we'll just check in with our feelings and then see if you need to shift it or not. So we usually end the conversation with a meditation for those of you who are here. So we'll just take 2 to 3 minutes to pause. So just sit comfortably, put your feet flat on the ground, and sit up straight. And I would like to invite you to put your two hands on your heart. And in the next few moments, just breathe in and out, imagining the air flowing in and out of your head. Just breathe in and out, slowly and gently. You can hear your heartbeat, and you can imagine the air going in and out of your head. And at this point, just ask yourself, what are you feeling right now? Just know that whatever answer you have, it's correct. Do you feel happy? Do you feel grateful? Do you feel sad? Whatever it is, just acknowledge it and name it. Right now, I feel this. And if it's an energy which replenishes you or recharges you, I'd invite you to embrace this emotion, this energy. But if it's an energy that depletes you, if you're ready, you may choose to let go of this emotion and choose a different emotion or a different energy. Even if it's a beautiful, positive energy, if you feel that you'd like to choose something better or greater, you're allowed to do that. So choose another energy. It may be gratitude or joy or happiness or power even. And just allow this energy to surround you. Allow the energy to emanate from your heart until it spreads and surrounds your whole being, until it's a protective dome around you. If you're grateful, spread this energy around your home. Spread this energy throughout the country. If you're so generous, then spread this energy to the whole world. And slowly and gently, call your attention back to the now. Call your attention back to the present moment. Just be here now. Go back to the room. And when you're ready, you may open it. Coach Gina, I would just really like to acknowledge you because you're stepping up as a leadership coach here in the country. And you said it's not something that you really wanted to do. And you also mentioned that it's uncomfortable. But you're doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's in
Can
the
I ask what's your why? Because you mentioned that a lot of times.
yeah.
Your why is very important.
Yeah, I wanted to bring more healing to the world. And for me, healing is giving as much love and compassion, and what I can give is space and time to do that, and using my voice to be able to do that if you need that. And I think that's really my biggest come from right now is that space of bringing back love and joy and healing. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You have final words or final message for everybody?
Yeah, for me, everyone is in their own journey and their own space, and stepping up to your own personal leadership, finding your breakthroughs every day so that you can move to your own next level and live with love and joy, love and light, day by day. That's all for me.
Live with love and joy, love and light. And I'd just like to remind everybody, if you want to hear more from Coach Gina, experience to be coached by her firsthand, there's a 6-week leadership coaching masterclass, which will start this Saturday, October 16. I posted the link on the comment section, so you can just enroll there. So that's it. And I'll just echo what Coach Gina said earlier, just live with love and light. That's it for this evening. Thank you so much, Coach Gina, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Good night. See you
Thank you.
soon. Bye for now. Thank you.